Alright, what's going on guys? I've had the Matebook X Pro for about a month now, and throughout my usage over the last almost 30 days, I'll be taking you through the things I've learned about this laptop, the good things and of course the bad things. Now, I purchased this laptop from the Microsoft store, the Canadian store, so I purchased it for $17.49 plus tax. And this particular model right here is the one with the i7, and that is the model you should get. Do not make the mistake of buying the i5, because the i7 model is just a couple $100 more and it packs way more stuff than what you pay for. I mean, the RAM and the SSD would pretty much cost you what the difference is between the i5 and the i7. But with the i7 model, you also get, of course, the i7 processor itself and the dedicated graphics card. So let's just jump into this and let's start my little quick review. Right off the bat here, I'm a big proponent of aesthetics. I believe that a quality product, something that you pay a lot of money for, this is a particularly high-end Windows laptop, so if you pay that price, you should expect quality. And from the moment I touched this laptop, I could tell it was worth the money. It's got a very cool touch. That's because it's an aluminum body, and I'll take you through a quick look around here. Very, very light. It feels pretty delicate, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be confident in lugging this around and not caring about damaging it like my XPS, but it does feel very sturdy as a laptop. It's just too nice. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those nice things that you don't want to get scratched up or anything like that. It's got two USB-C ports right here. You got a 3.5mm audio jack and then a USB-A port here. Now, I kind of want to jump into the port situation because it's not the greatest, I'll admit. I mean, you can buy the previous generation XPS 13 and it comes with all of the ports and it's relatively the same size. Now, Huawei made the compromise of particularly going with one USB-A port because you could barely fit one. If you can see, it pretty much takes up all the room here. I would have liked to see the Matebook just a little bit thicker to include probably two USB-A ports here, keep the two USB-C ports, and perhaps add an SD card slot here. That would be the perfect laptop for me. Alright, port situation aside, let's just jump into this laptop itself. Now, a big feature of this laptop is the fact that you can open it up with one hand. Look at that. You'd almost think I was reviewing a MacBook Pro, but it's not. So you can open this laptop with one hand, like I said, but on certain surfaces it kind of tends to slide around when you open it, and I've experienced that a couple of times. It kind of makes this device into more of a two-handed device, so one hand you kind of hold down, the other hand you kind of open the laptop, but really who cares? It's all good. So when you dive into this laptop right here, you open up the laptop and you have the power button right here. Let's turn it on and let's start the timer. And we're in. Look at that. That's super quick. And one of my favorite features about this is the fact that you could just simply press the power button and wait for it to turn on and unlock by itself. It's great, and I'd love to see other laptop manufacturers including something like this, because having a fingerprint reader on the side here when you have the power button, it's kind of a bit redundant. I know the new XPSs do include all-in-one just like this, but I'd like to see more laptop companies getting into this. So you guys are already familiar with the main selling point of this laptop, which is the screen. Now, as you can see, the lighting situation isn't ideal. I've got a lot of backlighting here, but that's part of the reason why this laptop's so awesome. You can pretty much crank it to the max and not really have to worry about any lighting situations. In real world testings, when I went to, say, Starbucks or even working from home like I am right now, I don't really run into the problem of not being able to see the screen like I do with my XPS 15. I believe it has about a 450 nits of brightness, which is one of the highest you can get on any laptop. It's fantastic. Okay, so the screen was a huge selling point for me, and I'm sure it is for everyone else that's out there looking to buy or have already bought this laptop. But the keyboard was something that really blew me away when I first started using it. And Windows laptops aren't really known for having the best keyboards or the best trackpads, etc. But this keyboard really blew me away. I constantly found myself typing on this and really enjoying the feeling of it, but I'd get so used to this that when I'd go back to my XPS 15, I mean, I would be like, oh man, this XPS sucks, because the keyboard just felt so mushy compared to this. It's a very subtle click. It's different. It's like if you fused a MacBook Pro from 2015 to a MacBook Pro of 2016. You know, it's just not as much key travel, but definitely more than the newer one. Alright, now we were talking about the keyboard, let's go further down to the trackpad. Now the trackpad, the Matebook kind of disappointed me here. I was expecting a lot more out of this trackpad given just the nature of it. It's a very large trackpad, very reminiscent of the MacBook Pro. The precision isn't there, you're not very accurate with just scrolling around, selecting things. Mostly what this laptop gets wrong is the amount of effort that you need to click, and I'm not used to that coming from the XPS 15 and some of the other laptops as well. It's very easy to click, but I find myself pressing harder than I need to, and often what that does is that allows my finger to slide a little bit, so I kind of miss the point of what I'm selecting, and so I end up just tapping instead of clicking, which changes the way I use the mouse pad, which isn't ideal. But overall, I kind of give this trackpad a pass just for being good enough, but Huawei could have really done better here. So let's get into one of the major things about this laptop, apart from the screen, is the battery life. Huawei mentioned that they expect this laptop to get about 15 hours. I'm not sure what kind of conditions they said that was in, but I'm assuming it's very minimal brightness, because average I've gotten maybe about 8 to 9 hours of battery life, which is pretty good for my usage, which is kind of mixed between, you know, emailing, web browsing, and watching videos. Sometimes jumping on to Vegas Pro or some of the music production software like Ableton, and some DJing software like Serato DJ. And I should mention, using those software, the battery life does kind of dip down to about the 6-hour range. So if you're expecting to kind of be doing all those tasks, bring the charger with you. And speaking of the charger, this is it. This is one of my favorite things to see because it very much reminds me of my Google Pixel charger. Speaking of that, I can charge my Google Pixel along with charging my laptop, so I only need to bring one charging block. This laptop charges up pretty fast. I haven't really recorded what time it takes to charge from 0 to full, but it tops up pretty well. I'm really pumped about this charger and just sort of the flexibility that you get. And I haven't done this now, but I am thinking of ordering a magnetic USB-C cable so that it kind of emulates the MagSafe, so that I don't have to worry about my cable getting ripped out and throwing my laptop across the room. Alright, so in terms of performance with this laptop, this is the i7. It breezes through anything I throw at it. I've done anything between, you know, web browsing, emailing, things like that, no issues, all the way to CAD work using AutoCAD, using Revit. I've used programs like Ableton, I use Serato DJ. It handles everything well. When it comes to video rendering, it does turn up its fans pretty high, so I mean that's normal for a laptop, that's totally fine. But something that I experienced when I first started using this laptop was how often the fans would go on even during light tasks. And I looked it up, and a lot of people were reporting this, and I looked into it a little bit more, and someone had actually used this Intel software, I'll link in the description, to undervolt their CPU, and so they undervolted it to 0.100 MV. There's a great video by Dave2D explaining what undervolting is, and it's a very safe option as long as you do it right. I did that, everything was good, fans wouldn't turn on as much, so that was a good sign as well. So if you look at the laptop here, you'll see the speaker grills along the sides. This computer has quad speakers with Dolby Atmos, and like it blew me away because I was already expecting this laptop to sound really good. It's crazy how loud this thing can go. You can fill up a room with the amount of sound this thing can make. It's great for me because I play back a lot of audio and I can really hear the definition in the audio much more than maybe my XPS or some other laptops. Now, most people have been talking about the webcam. I don't really use it, so I can't really comment on it, but I kind of like it hidden away personally, so yeah, that's me. So I think that's pretty much about it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I keep going back to this thing between using my XPS and coming back to this thing is just a breath of fresh air, really. I'm really glad with what Huawei has done, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the future. I just hope they come out with a 15-inch one, because I know it's very unlikely that they're going to do that whole adding ports and adding SD card slots thing to this one. But if they make a 15-inch one with the H series processor, an i9, and oh man, that's my dream computer right here. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully this video helped you in sort of getting a better picture of this video. I'm sure you've seen some of the other videos by Mr. Mobile and Hyman Rivera, things like that. So this is just another one to kind of solidify your decision on whether you want to purchase this or not. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one.